Trigger warning before I even start this video because people are gonna get real mad. Hey, what's up, strangers? My name's John, but people call me Narwhal on the internet, and I am in the process of watching through every single superhero movie ever made because I have never seen any of them. Last episode was Spider-Man 2, which was by far my favorite one I've seen so far, and sadly, I just watched Spider-Man 3. Real quick, before we dive into it, I just want to say, if you guys are new around here, be sure to subscribe because I'm posting new videos every other day. I'm literally making a review for every single superhero movie ever, so there will be 85 of them. So just subscribe and hit the bell so that you know when I upload new videos. Now, holy crap, I did not like this movie at all. When I originally posted my review for it on TikTok, I gave it a 2 out of 10, and people were really mad at me in the comments. They were like, dude, this movie's not as good as Spider-Man 2, but it's not nearly that bad. Like, that is totally unfair. And yeah, looking back on it, you're right. It probably wasn't a 2 out of 10, but I made the TikTok right after I finished watching, and I was very passionate about it. I just can't believe how annoying, confusing, and just dumb the last 45 minutes of this movie are. The first 90-ish minutes were pretty solid. I was having a fine time. I enjoyed them, but dear God, the last 90 minutes were some of the most annoying pieces of cinema for me to sit through. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, usually, if I really don't like a movie, I turn it off. And this is different because for this challenge, I'm forcing myself to watch all of it. And I'm sure there are going to be movies that are worse than this, which is why I said this movie is probably a 4 out of 10. But in the moment, I just cannot believe what happened to this movie. So let's start from the beginning. So when they set the stage at the beginning of this movie, basically the roles have reversed to where Spider-Man is now loved by everybody. He is now the icon of the city. He's their savior and everyone loves him, and he's very happy about that. Like, Peter Parker is hyped because, you know, for the longest time, nothing could go right for that guy. He just always got the short end of the stick, always had bad luck, and, you know, I understand that he's finally being praised, and that probably feels amazing. And MJ, on the other hand, is the opposite. You know, when she was in high school and in Spider-Man 2 as well, everything was going pretty well. She was pursuing her dreams, and she was an actress, and it was awesome. And I really like the role reversal because it ties into some of the themes of the movie where Peter is very self-centered. I think it's because he hadn't had any of this attention for a long time, and now that he has it, every time MJ has a problem, he tries to bring it back to himself. He tries to say, oh yeah, like I've done that, I've experienced that, I know what it's like. And there was one line in particular where she said something along the lines of like, try to understand how I feel. Like, rather than trying to talk about some Spider-Man thing that you've experienced that relates to my struggle, just shut the fuck up and listen to me complain and just like sit there with me in my struggle. Don't try and make it about you, because it's not. And that's a great message. I love that. There's also some really awesome themes about knowing who you really are and how the media tries to portray someone else. And that's happened with Spider-Man through the newspapers, and how there was headlines about, oh, he's a villain, he's a bad guy, is he really benefiting society? And then MJ actually lost her job as an actress because of one bad review in the press, even though it wasn't accurate and it wasn't fair at all. She lost her job because of that. All of the themes are awesome. All of the actors are great. I thought James Franco was very enjoyable. Everybody killed it in the acting department. And like I said, I enjoyed the first part of this movie quite a bit. I don't even remember what the main villain's name is. Like, I don't feel like they ever said it, and I feel like an idiot right now, but I don't have service in the studio, so I'm not going to try and Google it. But the Sandman, whatever the fuck that guy's name is, he was a great villain in my opinion, and I was intrigued by that storyline. And this is where things kind of go downhill. From what I've heard from my friends and from people in the comments on YouTube, and also from what I've read, is that Sam Raimi didn't want to make the Spider-Man 3 that came out. There was a lot of studio interference, and from my understanding, the studio basically forced him to put Venom into this movie, and that the main and only villain was supposed to be the Sand Guy. And I think that's why in the later parts of the movie, things get so cluttered for me, particularly like me, since I'm a first-time viewer. I don't know anything about the comics. It just felt so cluttered and overwhelming at times, and just dumb. So there's this comet, asteroid, like little rock thing that flies through the sky, lands right next to where Peter and MJ are hanging out in the park, and I assumed like, oh, you know, it's one of the villains. It's either James Franco's character or it's the Sand Guy, that, you know, they launch something, or it's some probe or something to spy on him, because that would make sense. Like, the two villains that we've been introduced to, James Franco was kind of a villain because he's going after him, and then the Sand Guy obviously is going after him. So it would only make sense that it's from one of those two guys trying to plot against him, but no, apparently it's just Venom, which is apparently a villain, that came from its planet in outer space. And now there's a third villain in the movie for some reason? Is it just a coincidence that this black goo from outer space landed right next to him? Did it seek him out? Does it specifically want Peter? None of that was explained in the movie, so I have no idea. And I'm definitely not going to go read all the comics just to figure it out. So like I said, the studio really wanted Venom to be a part of this. I assume they thought that that creature was appealing to fans and to young people, and maybe they thought they could do spin-offs using Venom. And what's kind of funny is that apparently the perception of this movie was so bad to the general public that they didn't even end up doing Venom spin-offs based off of that original trilogy. Obviously, there's a Venom movie now, but I don't think it's related at all. But anyway, so basically, Spider-Man then gets like infected with some other black version of Spider-Man, and apparently he becomes this Emo SpiderMan, where he's like super narcissistic and just kind of like a total dick who's confident and cocky all of a sudden. And so then sometimes he can control it, but then other times it controls him, sorta. But at around the 90-minute mark, he just starts making the worst decisions ever. Everything he does is just such a stupid thing. Like, why would you ever think that that was a good idea? One scene is he saves this girl from falling off of a building, right? And everyone's happy. Oh my God, he saved this girl. And then there's like this press conference where this girl that he saved is basically talking at this conference saying like, Spider-Man saved my life. Oh my God, I love him. I want to marry him. Basically, this girl who got her life saved is talking at this conference like, Spider-Man saved me. He's great. He's good for the city. And then he shows up and he comes down and he's like, hey lady, kiss me in front of all these people, even though I have a girlfriend and I know that my girlfriend is here because I just talked to her and she's definitely watching this. Just kiss me in front of her, in front of all these people. It'll be cool. And then I'm pretty sure she even says like, no, I probably shouldn't do that. And he's like, no, do it. Kiss me. So pro tip to any of you young people that have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, don't kiss another person if you have a significant other. And also maybe don't do that in front of them and in front of a huge crowd too. And then there's this god-awful scene where Peter Parker has all this confidence and swagger randomly, and he's just strutting down the street, and it's like a 2-minute scene where it's just him basically dancing and everyone's staring at him in the street, and he has all this confidence. And I'm sorry, but Tobey Maguire does just not have an ounce of swag in his body, and it's not like his fault, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just doesn't have the swag for that. And when you're trying to force that and randomly he's just this super charismatic guy, apparently, I just don't buy it. And then obviously MJ gets pissed at him because he fucking kissed this other girl right in front of her in the whole city, and she basically tells him she doesn't want to see him anymore, which is understandable. I mean, she also was kind of manipulated by James Franco's character, but that's besides the point. So Peter Parker and MJ are separated. They're not really talking. They broke up or whatever. And then Peter doesn't change at all. Like, he doesn't become a better person. He doesn't prove to her that he has changed his ways or that he's done literally anything differently. And then all of a sudden she's like back in his life and she's on his side again. And I don't get why or where that came from. That's so unjustified. He literally didn't do anything. I mean, he saved her at the end, which is, yeah, I'm glad that you saved my life. But other than that, you're just this emo asshole now who your only character trait about your emo side is that your hair's different. Oh, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. It is so dumb. So many dumb decisions were made that I just hate it. I hate everything about it. It makes me feel stupid. The movie made me feel like they thought I was stupid, and I don't like that. Why? Why would he make like any of the decisions he made in the last 90 minutes? It's so stupid and it's so obvious that and then it gets so cluttered because you don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm like, who's the real bad guy? There's like 3 bad guys here. I don't know. This movie was just a cluttered, jumbled mess for the last 90 minutes and it really ruined it all for me. Anyways, just some other miscellaneous things I wrote down that I did enjoy were J.K. Simmons is great again, obviously, and his scene with like his medication and his assistant was hilarious to me. There's this other scene where the Sand Guy and Spider-Man are in their big battle in like the street, and there's like this truck that fills with sand, and then it shows sand filling like over the driver's seat and like basically filling up the entire car, and there's a shot where it shows that it's filling up like the below area where the gas pedal is and the brake and shit. And it makes it seem like because the sand filled up over the gas pedal, it just like floored it, which doesn't make sense to me, because if sand filled up in that, I don't think it would necessarily push it down. But even if it pushes the gas pedal down, wouldn't it also push the brake down? So then I don't know what happens. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know what happens when you just floor the gas and the brake. But I don't think it would just go like 90 miles an hour down the street. But hey, I'm not a car guy, so I don't know. It just felt like MJ was back into his life trying to help Peter very quickly, even though he hadn't done anything to justify that, which I guess some could argue that that's what you do if you're truly in love with someone. Like, if you love them, you're there for them no matter what. Like, if they need you, you're there, even if you're mad at them, even if you're angry with them. But I don't know, like at that point in a relationship, they hadn't really been together for that long, and I just feel like if he blatantly disrespects her like that in front of the whole city, and then she's just seems like totally like it's past her very quickly, I just don't buy it. Oh my god, how could I forget? During the really shitty like dancing action sequence that I was talking about, when Peter Parker gets all this confidence randomly, he did finger guns to girls at least like 7 times. Yes, this movie came out in 2007, but I don't think that many finger guns was ever cool. I don't know. If you liked it, I'm really glad. Like, I never want someone to hate a movie because then they just wasted their time. If you like it, I'm glad. I'd love to hear from you what you thought about it in the comments down below. For me, I'll definitely never watch this again. It also just like annoys me on like a bigger scale because I hate that studios interfere with directors so much. Like, that happens all the time. I haven't even seen the new Justice League, but from what I've heard, the Zack Snyder cut is way better because it's actually sort of the vision that he wanted to make. From what I've read, it's not entirely the vision he wanted still, but if the movies that the directors want to make are almost always better received than the ones where the studios interfere, why don't the studios just not fucking interfere? I don't know. I don't know the business. I'm an idiot, and my opinions don't mean anything. So, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to drop a like on this video if you enjoyed. Like I said, comment down below letting me know what you thought, and subscribe here and hit the bell so you never miss any videos that I upload. If you enjoy me and this content, be sure to check out my podcast called Peak to Middle School that I co-host with my best friend Kyle. It means a lot to me. We work really hard on it, and there's new videos every Monday and Thursday. I just think the show's super underrated, and you guys should all check it out if you need something to listen to while you're at work, at the gym, maybe while you're cooking, whatever. Even if I walk into a public bathroom and there's piss all over the seat, I'll wipe off all the pee, right, with like paper,
hands,
toilet paper,
your tongue maybe,
and then I'll like flush that. But usually I just bite the bullet. Like, I don't actually take out the covering things. I just say, fuck it, the back of my thighs are gonna be nasty.
That's gross.
And then I just take a shit and I just accept it.
I've never used one.
You've never used one?
Wait, do
A
you
seat
guys?
cover? No.
Dude,
I've-
in a public bathroom,
so
I use them every
disgusting.
time if I have to sit down.
Wait, what?
Why would you sit
cannot-
down your bare ass on a nasty public toilet seat? If
I've
there's
ne-
if there's a perfectly good cover
I
right in
cannot
front of
believe you
I
guys
have
right now.
never, ever
I'm kind of
used
grossed
one.
out. I think I'm gonna leave.
I think
you get
we
raw.
should- yeah, we should not be
Why would
friends.
you
We
get out of
should
this
not be
nasty
friends with these
press
kids
hole?
anymore.
I thought I was on the same
Bro,
page as
no.
everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm now gonna go watch The Amazing Spider-Man. Wish me luck.